Ma'am, I need you to focus. The nurse, her name tag reads Patricia, taps her pen against the clipboard. You said you found the babies at your door? Not my door. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. The Lord's door. Cale Nightborn's estate. I'm just the housekeeper. Patricia's pen stops moving. Her eyes snap to mine, and I watch her expression shift from tired annoyance to something sharper. Nightborn? As in the Nightborn group? I nod. Everyone in the city knows that name. Cale Nightborn owns half the downtown skyline and most of the waterfront. What they don't know is what he really is. What I've known for the past 8 months since I took the job at his estate, desperate enough to ignore the strange requirements listed in the job posting. Must be comfortable working nights. Must be discreet. Must never enter the East Wing without explicit permission. She was screaming his name. The memory makes my stomach clench. The woman who left them. She kept shouting, "Kyle, Kyle, these are yours," while she ran back to her car. And where is Mr. Nightborn now? I called him. He's on his way. What I don't tell Patricia is that I called him 45 minutes ago, and he answered on the first ring, even though it was the middle of the day for him. The middle of what should have been his sleep cycle. His voice had been rough with something that might have been sleep, or might have been something else entirely. Marin. Just my name, said in that way he has that makes my spine straighten automatically. Tell me, there are babies. I'd been standing in the grand foyer, looking down at 2 tiny humans in a car seat carrier, both of them wailing with the kind of desperation that feels like it could crack the world open. Someone left them! She said they're yours! The silence on the other end lasted 3 heartbeats, then, "Don't touch them. Don't let anyone else touch them. I'm coming." But babies don't wait. They were cold and hungry, and one of them had a fever, so I wrapped them in the cashmere throw from the sitting room and drove Kyle's 3rd favorite car to the hospital because I didn't know what else to do. Now I'm here, watching Patricia page someone called Dr. Mehta, and trying not to think about the fact that I've probably just violated every clause in my employment contract. The babies are in the examination room now. They're so small. The nurse said they couldn't be more than a few weeks old. Both have Cale's dark hair already, thick for newborns. And when one of them opened his eyes, a brief, squinting moment, I saw they were that same impossible silver gray that Kyle's turn in certain lights. "Miss Chen," Patricia's voice pulls me back. "Child Protective Services has been notified. They'll need to speak with you and Mr. Nightborn." My heart drops into my stomach. Can't we just... 2 infants were abandoned at a private residence in the middle of the night. This is protocol. I think about Cale's world, the carefully maintained separation between his business empire and what he really is. The absolute secrecy that keeps his kind hidden from the broader human population. Child Protective Services means investigations, questions, paperwork that could expose everything. The emergency room doors slide open with a pneumatic hiss, and every head turns. Cale Nightborn doesn't walk into rooms, he transforms them. Even at 3 a.m, even straight from whatever emergency pulled him from his daytime rest, he looks like he was carved from expensive shadows and older money than most people can imagine. His suit is black, perfectly tailored, and probably costs more than my annual salary. But it's his face that makes Patricia's hand go still on her clipboard, that makes the security guard by the vending machine straighten up. Sharp cheekbones, pale skin that seems to gather the fluorescent light and turn it into something closer to moonlight. And those eyes, silver in this harsh lighting, but I've seen them go dark as smoke when he's angry, bright as mercury when he's amused. He finds me immediately, and I watch something flicker across his face. Relief? Anger? With Cale, it's always hard to tell. He keeps his emotions locked behind centuries of practice. Marin. He's across the waiting room in seconds, moving faster than humans should move, but not so fast that anyone would consciously notice. Just fast enough that suddenly he's there, his hand on my elbow, his body between me and Patricia like a shield. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine." I'm not fine. I'm terrified and exhausted, and I can smell his cologne. Something dark and cedar-like. And it's making my head swim. The babies have fevers. They're dehydrated. Dr. Mehta is with them now. His jaw tightens. Show me. Patricia starts to protest about visiting hours and proper procedures, but Cale looks at her with that particular expression he has. Not threatening, not aggressive, just absolutely certain, and she stops talking. I've seen him do this before. It's not mind control exactly. He says it's just presence, the weight of being what he is, but whatever it is, people tend to let Cale Nightborn do what he wants. I lead him through the double doors into the examination area. Dr. Mehta is a small woman with gray-streaked hair and efficient hands. She's checking one of the babies, the boy, I think, with a stethoscope while a nurse holds him steady. Kyle stops in the doorway like he's been struck. I've never seen him look vulnerable before. In 8 months of working for him, I've seen him intimidating and charming and coldly furious, and once, late one night when he didn't know I was watching, achingly lonely. But I've never seen him look the way he does now, staring at those 2 tiny humans like they've rearranged his entire understanding of the universe. Mr. Nightborn, Dr. Adis, Mehta doesn't look up from her examination. I assume you're the father? His voice catches. Cale Nightborn, who can stare down corporate raiders and city officials without blinking, can't finish a sentence. Yes. It's the first time I've heard him admit it. Dr. Mehta nods, like this is all perfectly routine. They're fraternal twins. A boy and a girl. Approximately 4 weeks old based on their development. Both have upper respiratory infections and show signs of neglect. Diaper rash, dehydration, general poor care. Nothing life-threatening now that we're treating them, but whoever was caring for them wasn't doing an adequate job. Cale moves closer. His hand hovers over the baby boy's head, not quite touching, like he's afraid of breaking something precious. Will they be all right? With proper care and treatment, yes. They're fighters. Dr. Mehta finally looks up at him, and I see her expression soften slightly. Did you know about them? No. The word is rough. I didn't know. I believe him. I've learned to read Kyle's micro-expressions, the tiny tells that show what he's feeling behind that careful mask. Right now, he looks shattered and trying desperately not to show it. There's a social worker on her way, Dr. Mehta says gently. Given the circumstances of their arrival, there are procedures we have to follow. Cale's expression hardens. These are my children. They're not going into the system. No one's suggesting that. But we need to document everything properly, establish paternity, ensure they'll be going to a safe environment. My home is safe. There's an edge in his voice now, something that makes the nurse take an unconscious step back. I touch his arm without thinking. Kyle. He looks down at me, and I see him making an effort to control whatever's rising inside him. His hand covers mine for just a moment, cool skin against my warmth. Sorry. I'm sorry. The social worker arrives 20 minutes later. Her name is Beverly Kim, and she has kind eyes and a tablet computer and a series of questions that Cale answers with increasing tension. Yes, he can provide proof of paternity, blood tests, DNA, whatever they need. Yes, he has adequate housing. Yes, he has the financial means to support 2 infants. No, he's never been investigated by CPS before. No, he had no idea the children existed until tonight. And the mother? Beverly asks. Cale's expression goes carefully blank. I'm not certain who she is. I see Beverly's judgment flicker across her face, quickly suppressed. You're not certain. It was a brief encounter. Several months ago. His voice is ice cold now, the tone he uses in business negotiations. I didn't get her full name. This is a lie. I can tell because his right hand closes into a fist, just slightly, a tell I've learned to recognize. But why would he lie? Mr. Nightborn, I understand this is difficult, but what I understand is that 2 infants were abandoned at my home in the middle of the night by someone who clearly didn't want them. The words come out sharp. Whatever her reasons, whatever our history, my priority now is ensuring my children are cared for. Everything else is secondary. Beverly makes notes on her tablet. You'll need to establish a safe home environment. We'll need to do a home visit within 48 hours. You'll need to demonstrate that you have appropriate childcare arrangements, necessary supplies, a plan for their ongoing care. Done. Mr. Nightborn, this isn't something you can just delegate to staff. I'm not planning to. He looks at the babies, still in their examination cribs, hooked up to IVs and monitors. The girl is sleeping now, her tiny fist curled near her face. They're mine. I'll care for them. I try to imagine Cale Nightborn changing diapers and warming bottles at 3 a.m. The image doesn't quite compute. But then again, an hour ago, I couldn't have imagined him looking at 2 tiny humans with such raw, desperate protectiveness. The hospital keeps the babies overnight for observation. Cale refuses to leave. He pulls strings, phone calls to board members, carefully worded requests that somehow become immediate approvals, and gets himself a private room adjoining the nursery where the twins are being monitored. I should go home. My shift at the estate technically ended hours ago, but when I start to say goodbye, Cale looks at me with something almost like panic in his eyes. Stay! It's not an order. Cale never orders me to do anything outside of my actual job duties. Please, Marin, I don't... He stops, runs a hand through his dark hair. I don't know what I'm doing. So, I stay. We sit in the ugly vinyl chairs of the private room, drinking terrible coffee from the vending machine, and I watch Cale Nightborn come apart in small, careful increments. I can't take care of human infants. His voice is quiet. I don't eat human food. I don't sleep human hours. He stops. What if I hurt them? What if I'm too strong and I don't realize, and you won't? I don't know where my certainty comes from, but it's absolute. You're the most controlled person I've ever met. You don't understand. He's looking at his hands like they're foreign objects. My kind, we're not meant to have children with humans. It's supposed to be impossible. The biological incompatibility. He stops again. But it happened. Somehow it happened, and now there are 2 people in the world who exist because of me, and I have no idea how to keep them safe. This is the most I've ever heard him say about what he is. In 8 months, we've maintained a careful fiction. He's just an eccentric billionaire who keeps odd hours and has unusual dietary requirements, and once, when I accidentally cut myself on a broken glass, left the room so fast he was almost a blur. Tell me about their mother, I say quietly. Cale's laugh is bitter. Her name is Sabine. It's complicated. Complicated how? She's one of mine, a vampire. He says the word carefully, watching for my reaction. I don't give him one. We've never named it out loud before, but I've known for months. We had a brief relationship 2 years ago. Very brief. She wanted more. I didn't. She left angry. And got pregnant? It shouldn't have been possible. Vampire, we can't reproduce. The old texts say it's because we're already dead in the ways that matter. But Sabine is young, barely 2 decades transformed. Maybe she kept enough of her humanity. He shakes his head. Or maybe the universe has a sense of irony. I think about the woman I saw for those few seconds tonight. She'd been beautiful in a sharp, dangerous way. Dark hair, expensive clothes, the kind of beauty that looks like it could cut you. And she'd been screaming Cale's name like it was a curse while she ran away from 2 tiny lives she'd created and abandoned. Why didn't she tell you? Because she knew I'd want them. His voice drops to almost a whisper. Even though I shouldn't. Even though I don't know how to be a father. Even though this is going to complicate everything. She knew I'd want them, and she wanted me to suffer for rejecting her. That's cruel. Yes. He looks toward the adjoining room, where I can hear the soft beep of monitors. But she gave me something I didn't know I needed. So maybe I should thank her. The sun is coming up when Dr. Mehta returns. The babies are stable enough to discharge, but they'll need follow-up appointments, medication for their infections, careful monitoring. She hands Cale a stack of papers and pamphlets about infant care that he takes like they're explosive devices. You'll need car seats to take them home, she says. Hospital policy. Cale looks at me helplessly. I'll handle it. I pull out my phone. There's a baby store that opens at 7. I'll have everything delivered to the estate. Beverly Kim appears for final paperwork. She still looks skeptical, but Cale's money and influence have smoothed the way. There will be a home visit, a social worker checking in regularly, requirements to meet. But for now, the babies can go home with their father. We dress them in clothes from the hospital gift shop, tiny onesies with ducks on them that cost probably 10 times what they should. The boy has Cale's nose, I notice. The girl has his mouth. Both have eyes that are trying to decide what color they want to be. That impossible gray-silver shifting to something almost violet when the light hits them right. They need names, I say as we're waiting for the discharge nurse. Cale looks down at the bundle in his arms, the girl sleeping against his chest like she was made to fit there. I don't know any names. You're over 300 years old. You don't know any names? I know plenty of names. I don't know the right names. He sounds almost panicked. What if I choose wrong? What if they hate them? Despite everything, the exhaustion, the fear, the surreal nature of this entire night, I laugh. They're newborns. They'll forgive you. He thinks for a long moment, looking down at his daughter. Freya, he says finally, for the girl. It means noble. And he looks at the boy, cradled in the nurse's arms. Rowan. For strength. Freya and Rowan Nightborn. I try the names out. They fit. The drive back to the estate is surreal. I'm behind the wheel because Cale is in the back seat, wedged between 2 brand new car seats, staring at his children like he's afraid they'll disappear if he looks away. The sun is fully up now, and I can see him flinch from the light even through the car's tinted windows. You should be sleeping, I say. I can't. His voice is tight. Not while I need to. They're fine. They're right there. I know. But his hands hover near them anyway. Protective and uncertain. The estate is a 40-minute drive from the city, tucked into hills covered in old-growth forest. It's beautiful in a gothic, slightly ominous way. All stone and tall windows and gardens that look like they might eat you. I've learned to love it over the past 8 months. It feels like a place out of time, which I suppose it is. Kyle bought it in the 1920s and has been slowly restoring it ever since. Mrs. Okoye, the cook, meets us at the door. She takes one look at the car seats and the exhausted vampire holding them and doesn't ask a single question. I'll prepare bottles, she says calmly, like this is all completely normal. Formula. Cale sounds grateful for the specificity. And we'll need everything. Cribs, changing tables, clothes, everything. I'll make a list. Mrs. Okoye is already pulling out her phone. In the meantime, there's the nursery in the West Wing. We can set up there temporarily. I'd forgotten about the nursery. The estate has dozens of rooms, including a whole wing that's been closed off for years. But there's a nursery up there, decorated in soft yellows and creams, with a rocking chair by the window and wallpaper printed with tiny stars. Why do you have a nursery? I ask as we climb the stairs. Cale adjusts his grip on the car seats. The family who owned the house before me had children. I never saw a reason to change it. But I notice the way he looks at the room when we enter, like he's seeing it for the first time. Like maybe some part of him kept this room intact for a reason he didn't want to examine. We set up a temporary sleeping space, blankets and pillows arranged carefully in the bassinets Mrs. Okoye conjures from somewhere. The babies are fussy, exhausted from the night's drama. Freya cries with a surprisingly loud voice for such a small person. Rowan makes softer, more worried sounds. Here. I show Cale how to hold a bottle, how to support their heads. Like this. Not too fast or they'll choke. His hands shake slightly as he takes Freya. For someone who can move faster than human eyes can follow, who has strength enough to bend steel, he's terrified of these tiny humans. But he learns fast, adjusting his hold when Freya squirms, tilting the bottle at the right angle. She's eating, he says wonderingly. That's generally what babies do. But she's eating from me. I'm feeding my daughter. He looks up at me, and there's something raw and unguarded in his expression. Maren, I'm someone's father. My throat tightens. Yeah, you are. We spend the day in that nursery. I should sleep. I've been awake for 24 hours, but I can't leave. We feed the babies and change them and walk them when they cry. Kyle moves through it all with intense focus, like he's learning a new language, which I suppose he is. You're good at this, I tell him around noon, watching him rock Rowan with surprising gentleness. I'm terrified at this. Those aren't mutually exclusive. He smiles slightly. It transforms his face, makes him look less like a predator and more like just a man who's been given an impossible gift. No, I suppose they're not. Beverly Kim arrives at 2 for the home inspection. She walks through the nursery, checking the smoke detectors and window locks and asking detailed questions about childcare plans. Cale answers everything with the same careful control he uses in board meetings, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. And you'll have full-time help? Beverly asks, making notes. Yes, my staff will be available around the clock, and I've arranged for a night nurse to start tomorrow. You work nights? My schedule is unconventional, but I'll be here. Always. Beverly looks at him for a long moment. Whatever she sees in his face must satisfy her, because she nods slowly. Mr. Nightborn, I'm going to be frank. This situation is unusual. The circumstances of these children's arrival, your lack of preparation, it's all concerning. But I can also see that you're committed. So here's what's going to happen. We'll check in weekly for the first month, then reassess. Any signs of neglect or inadequate care, and we'll have to intervene. Understood? Understood. After she leaves, Cale sinks into the rocking chair like his strings have been cut. That was worse than negotiating with the Japanese covenant. The what? Nothing. He waves a hand. Vampire politics? Not important right now. Freya chooses that moment to wake up crying. Then Rowan joins her. Soon the nursery is filled with the sound of 2 infants expressing their displeasure with the world. Cale looks at me desperately. What do I do? Pick one. I'll get the other. We walk them, bouncing gently, making shushing sounds. Gradually, the cries fade to whimpers, and then to silence. Freya falls asleep against my shoulder, her tiny hand fisted in my borrowed scrub top. She's so warm, so alive, so absolutely trusting. Maren. Kyle's voice is soft. Thank you, for everything, for bringing them here, for staying, for... He stops. I couldn't do this without you. You could. You'd figure it out. Maybe, but I'm glad I don't have to. The words hang between us in the quiet nursery. Outside, the sun is starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Soon it will be night, Cale's time. But right now, in this moment, we're suspended in something else. Something that feels almost like family. The night nurse arrives the next evening. Her name is Rachel, and she's a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who takes one look at Kyle and doesn't even blink. She's worked for unconventional families before, she says, which I think is code for rich people with weird schedules. She teaches us proper swaddling techniques and explains wake windows and demonstrates the correct way to burp a baby. Cale takes notes on his phone like he's in a business meeting. I try not to find it endearing. They'll need checkups next week, Rachel says, pediatrician appointments, and you'll want to register them, get birth certificates sorted. Cale nods. I'll handle it. Will the mother be involved? His expression goes carefully neutral. No. Rachel doesn't push. She's worked in this world long enough to know when not to ask questions. Over the next few days, the estate transforms. Deliveries arrive constantly, cribs and changing tables and tiny clothes in every color. A whole store's worth of diapers. Bottles and formula and something called a wipe warmer that seems excessive, but Cale insists on anyway. They should be comfortable, he says defensively when I raise an eyebrow at the heated baby bathtub. They're newborns. They don't know the difference between a $20 bathtub and a $200 one. But I do. I'm staying at the estate full-time now, It wasn't really discussed, just sort of happened. Kyle needs help during the day when he can't be fully awake, and I need to know they're all okay. This strange, impossible little family. I've moved into the room adjoining the nursery. At night, I can hear Kale moving around with the babies, his footsteps silent on the carpet. Sometimes I get up to help, and we work together in comfortable silence, passing bottles and burp cloths, like we've been doing this for years instead of days. "You're good at this," he says one night around 3 a.m. We're both sitting on the floor, each holding a baby, because the twins sleep better when they can see each other. "So are you." "I'm terrified every moment." "That's what makes you good at it." He looks at me over Rowan's small head. "How did you become so wise?" "I'm not wise. I stop, not sure how to explain. I've learned that the people who are most scared of screwing up are usually the ones who don't." "Is that experience talking?" "It is, but I don't want to talk about my own childhood. The foster homes and temporary families, and the constant feeling of being unwanted." "Something like that." Kyle is quiet for a moment. Then, "You know I'm paying you, right? For all of this. The extra hours, the overnight care. I know. It's more than just housekeeping now. I know that too." "Maren." He waits until I look at him. "I need you to understand. This isn't temporary. Whatever this is, whatever we're building here, I need you to know I'm not going to suddenly decide I don't need help anymore. You're not going to show up one day and find yourself dismissed." My chest tightens. He's read me better than I thought. "Okay. I mean it. You're part of this now. Part of them." He looks down at Rowan, who's fallen asleep with his tiny hand wrapped around Kale's finger. "Part of us." I don't know what to say to that. So I just nod and focus on Freya, who's making small, snuffling sounds against my shoulder. The first week becomes 2. The twins settle into something approximating a routine. They gain weight. Their fevers clear up, and slowly they start to look less like fragile creatures who might break, and more like actual small humans with personalities. Freya is demanding and loud, and refuses to sleep unless she's being held. Rowan is quieter, but stubborn, fighting sleep like it's a personal enemy. Beverly Kim comes for her weekly visits. Each time, I see her skepticism soften a little more. Kale might be an unconventional father. He still looks like he belongs on the cover of a magazine about billionaire playboys, not burping babies at 4 a.m. But he's devoted, obsessed even. He tracks their feeding times and diaper changes with the same intensity he probably once used for hostile takeovers. "They're thriving," Beverly says after the 3rd visit. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." After she leaves, Kale actually slumps in relief. "I was so certain she was going to take them." "She's not going to take them. You're doing everything right." "Am I?" He looks toward the nursery, where both babies are sleeping. "I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For someone to realize I have no idea what I'm doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. That's the secret of parenting." "You seem to know." I laugh. "I'm faking it just as much as you are." But it doesn't feel like faking. It feels like something else. Like becoming. The issue of Sabine hangs over everything, unspoken but always present. Kyle doesn't talk about her, but I've heard him on the phone late at night, his voice cold and clipped. He's looking for her, I think, or making sure she's not coming back. One night, I find him in his study after putting the babies down. He's staring at his computer screen, and there's something about his expression that makes my stomach drop. "What is it?" He doesn't startle. He never does. "Sabine filed a petition. She wants custody." The words hit like a physical blow. "She what?" "She claims she was suffering from postpartum depression when she abandoned them, that she's receiving treatment now and wants her children back." His voice is devoid of emotion, which means he's feeling everything. "Her lawyer sent the papers this evening." "Can she do that, after just leaving them?" "She can try. It will be a fight, a long one." He closes the laptop. "This is going to get ugly, Maren. Custody battles always do. And I'm what I am, that complicates things. You mean being a vampire? He flinches slightly at the word. If it comes out in court. If she tries to use it against me. She can't. Who would believe her? You'd be surprised what people believe when they want to. He stands, moves to the window. Outside, the grounds are dark except for the security lights. I should have known she wouldn't just disappear. She always was stubborn. What are you going to do? Fight. What else can I do? They're mine. The possessiveness in his voice is absolute. I'll burn everything down before I let her take them. I believe him. The next few weeks are tense. Lawyers get involved, expensive ones who don't ask questions about Kale's unconventional lifestyle. Court dates are set. Sabine makes appearances in the society pages, photographed looking appropriately maternal and remorseful. She gives an interview to a sympathetic magazine about the pressures of unexpected motherhood, the mistakes she made, her journey to mental health. She's playing this perfectly, Kale says bitterly, throwing the magazine across his study. The redemption narrative. The struggling mother. Meanwhile, I'm the cold billionaire who swooped in and took her children. You're their father. I'm a father who didn't know they existed until they were abandoned on my doorstep. That doesn't play well in court. He's right, but I hate it. I hate watching him second-guess every decision, hate the way he tensors up every time his phone rings, hate the dark circles under his eyes that appear even though he doesn't technically need sleep. The twins turn 2 months old. We have a small celebration, just us, Mrs. Okoye, Rachel, and the babies, who are blissfully unaware that their existence is being debated in family court. Kyle buys them tiny birthday outfits that they'll wear for approximately 10 minutes before spitting up on. I take about 100 photos. They're getting so big, Rachel says, holding Freya, who's discovered her own hands and is fascinated by them. Too fast. Kale takes Rowan, who immediately grabs for his father's hair. I feel like I blink, and they're different. That's babies. Mrs. Okoye is cutting cake, because apparently we celebrate baby birthdays even if the babies can't eat cake. They change every day. After everyone leaves, I find Kale in the nursery. He's standing by the window, Rowan asleep in his arms, looking out at the dark forest. Are you okay? I ask quietly. I keep thinking about time. His voice is soft so as not to wake the baby. I have so much of it. Centuries, probably. But they don't. They get maybe 80 years if they're lucky, and I get to watch them grow and age and eventually... He stops. I never thought about what it would mean, to love something mortal. I move to stand beside him. Is it worth it? He looks down at Rowan, whose tiny face is peaceful in sleep. Every single second. The court hearing is set for a gray Tuesday in October. Kale wears his most intimidating suit, black on black, perfectly tailored. He looks like the kind of man who could buy the courthouse if it annoyed him, which, knowing him, he probably could. I'm not allowed in the courtroom, but I wait with the babies in a nearby cafe, my phone clutched in my hand. Rachel offered to come, but I wanted to be here. Needed to be here. 3 hours pass. 4. Freya fusses, and I walk her around the cafe, bouncing gently. Rowan sleeps in his stroller, unbothered by the drama unfolding blocks away. Finally, my phone buzzes. It's Kale. We won. I almost dropped the phone. What? The judge reviewed everything, Beverly Kim's reports, the medical records from when they were abandoned, Sabine's history. She ruled that the children's welfare is best served remaining with me. Primary custody. Sabine gets supervised visitation if she completes a psychiatric evaluation and parenting classes. His voice is shaking. Kale Nightborn, who faces down corporate sharks and vampire politics without blinking, is shaking. Where are you? I ask. Outside the courthouse. He takes a breath. Can you bring them? I need to see them. I pack up everything, bottles and diapers and pacifiers, and all the equipment that babies apparently require just to exist, and drive to the courthouse. Kale is waiting on the steps, and when he sees us, something in his expression just breaks open. He takes Freya from me, then Rowan, holding them both with a desperate kind of relief. Mine, he says quietly, more to himself than to me. They're mine. They were always yours. I know, but now it's official. Now no one can take them. People are staring. A man in an expensive suit holding 2 infants on the courthouse steps, but Cale doesn't seem to notice or care. He's looking at his children like they're the only things in the world that matter. Later, after we've driven home and put the babies down for their naps, Kyle finds me in the kitchen. I'm making tea because I don't know what else to do with the anxious energy still buzzing under my skin. Marin, I turn. He's standing in the doorway, and there's something in his expression I can't read. I need to ask you something, he says, and you can say no, but I need to ask. Okay, stay, not just as my employee, stay as... He stops, runs a hand through his hair. I don't know what to call it. Co-parent? Partner? The person who holds this family together because I certainly can't do it alone? My heart is beating too fast. Cale! I know it's not traditional. I know I'm not human, and this whole situation is impossible. But when I think about the future, when I imagine the twins growing up... He looks at me directly. I can't imagine it without you. The words hang in the kitchen. Outside, I can hear birds singing. Inside, my entire world is rearranging itself. You don't have to answer now, he continues. Take time, think about it. I just needed you to know. Yes. He stops. Yes? Yes. I'll stay. I want to stay. The truth of it settles over me, solid and certain. They need me. You need me. And I take a breath. I need this. All of you. Kyle crosses the kitchen in 3 strides. For a moment, I think he might kiss me. Instead, he pulls me into a hug, his arms around me like I'm something precious he's afraid of losing. Thank you, he whispers against my hair. Thank you. We stand there for a long moment, holding each other in the afternoon light, and I think about how strange life is. 3 months ago, I was just a housekeeper, alone and struggling. Now I'm part of something I never expected. Something that feels like home. That night, we sit together in the nursery while the babies sleep. Cale tells me stories about his long life, the places he's seen, the changes he's witnessed. I tell him about my childhood, the loneliness I carried for so long. We share pieces of ourselves in the quiet dark, building something new from everything we've been. I never thought I could have this, he says eventually. A family. Belonging. I thought that part of me died when I was turned. Maybe it was just waiting. Maybe. He reaches over and takes my hand. His skin is cool, but the gesture is warm. I'm glad it waited for you. The weeks turn into months. The twins grow. Freya starts smiling, this gummy, joyful expression that makes my heart hurt. Rowan discovers his voice and spends hours making experimental sounds. We celebrate their first Christmas, Kyle going completely overboard with presents even though they're too young to understand. We weather their first colds, first shots, first everything. Sabine comes for her supervised visits twice a month. She's polite but distant, and I can see the regret in her eyes when she looks at what she gave up. But she made her choice, and now she has to live with it. Beverly Kim's visits become less frequent. Eventually, she closes the case. You've built a good home, she tells Cale at the final visit. Those children are lucky. After she leaves, Cale finds me in the garden. I'm reading while Freya naps in her stroller beside me, Rowan sprawled on a blanket making attempts at rolling over. We did it, he says. You did it. No, we. He sits beside me on the bench. None of this would have worked without you. You know that, right? I do know, but it's nice to hear anyway. I've been thinking, he continues, about the future. About us. Us. I know we haven't defined what this is. This partnership. But I'd like to. He turns to face me fully. Marin Chen, you are the best thing that's happened to me in 300 years. You and those 2 tiny humans who somehow made me a father. And I'd like, if you want, to make this official. He pulls out a small box. Inside is a ring, simple, elegant, with a stone that catches the afternoon light. "I'm not good at human customs," he says, "and I know this is complicated. But I love you, and I want you to be part of this family in every possible way. So, will you marry me?" I look at the ring, then at him, then at the babies, Freya sleeping peacefully, Rowan trying to eat his own foot. I think about late-night feedings and early morning laughter and the way Kyle looks at his children like they're miracles. I think about being wanted, being chosen, being home. "Yes," I say. "Yes, I'll marry you." He slides the ring onto my finger and then he kisses me, gentle and careful and full of promise. Rowan chooses that moment to let out an indignant squawk, demanding attention. We break apart, laughing. "I think he approves," Kale says, "or he's jealous. He'll have to learn to share." We spend the rest of the afternoon there in the garden, the four of us, as the sun sets and the world turns. It's not a traditional family, a vampire, a human, and 2 impossible children. But it's ours. And that makes it perfect. Later, after the babies are asleep and the house is quiet, Kyle and I stand in the nursery doorway, watching them breathe. "I was so scared," he admits quietly, "that night at the hospital. I thought I'd lose them before I even knew them." "But you didn't. No, because you were there. Because you stayed." He turns to look at me. "I don't say it enough, but you saved us. All of us. You saved yourself. I just helped." "No." His voice is firm. "Don't diminish what you did. You took 2 abandoned infants to a hospital in the middle of the night. You called me even though you must have been terrified. You stayed when you could have walked away. You chose us, Marin, and that choice changed everything." I lean against him, his arm around my shoulders. "I chose right." "So did I." We stand there together, watching over the twins, and I think about how life works. How sometimes the worst things, abandonment, loneliness, impossible circumstances, can lead to the best things. How families aren't always built the traditional way. How love doesn't always look like what you expected. But it's real. This strange, imperfect, wonderful thing we've built together. It's real, and it's ours, and it's enough. The twins are 6 months old when Sabine comes back. Not for a visit. Not supervised. She arrives at the estate on a Tuesday afternoon, while Kyle is in the city for a meeting he couldn't postpone. I'm in the nursery with Freya and Rowan, playing music and letting them practice their newly discovered ability to sit up with support, when Mrs. Okoye appears in the doorway with an expression I've never seen before. "Miss Marin," she says carefully, "there's someone here." I know immediately. Something about the tension in her voice, the way she's positioned herself protectively in front of the stairs. "Where?" "The front entrance. She says she has legal right to be here. She has papers." My stomach drops. I scoop up both babies, one on each hip, a maneuver I've perfected over months of practice, and follow Mrs. Okoye downstairs. Sabine is standing in the foyer, like she owns it. She's even more beautiful than I remember, wearing a white suit that probably costs more than my car, her dark hair swept into an elegant twist. But there's something harder about her now, something desperate beneath the polish. "You must be Marin." Her voice is smooth, cultured. "The housekeeper who decided to play mother." I adjust my grip on the babies. Freya makes a small sound of protest. "Sabine, Kyle isn't here." "I know. I waited until he wasn't." She takes a step forward, and I see Mrs. Okoye move slightly, placing herself between us. "I have a court order, an emergency custody modification. My psychiatrist wrote a letter stating I'm fit to care for my children, and given Mr. Nightborn's unusual lifestyle and work schedule, the judge agreed I should have extended visitation. Starting today." She holds out papers, official-looking documents with stamps and signatures. "That's not possible!" My voice sounds calmer than I feel. Beverly Kim closed our case. The custody agreement is final. This is a different judge, one who's more sympathetic to mother's rights. Sabine's smile is sharp. "I'm entitled to take my children for a 72-hour visitation period beginning immediately. It's all legal. You can read it yourself. I don't take the papers. I'm too busy holding Freya and Rowan, both of them looking at this strange woman with uncertain expressions. Rowan starts to fuss, sensing the tension. I need to call Kale. Call him, but the law is the law. Sabine's eyes fix on the babies, and something in her expression shifts. Hunger, maybe, or regret. They're so big. I've missed so much. You chose to miss it. I was ill. Her voice hardens. Postpartum depression is a serious condition. I wasn't in my right mind when I left them. But I am now, and I want my children. Mrs. Okoye clears her throat. Miss Marin, perhaps we should wait for Mr. Nightborn before. There's nothing to wait for. Sabine moves closer, and I catch her scent. Expensive perfume and something else. Something cold and other. I have a legal right. Now, are you going to hand them over, or do I need to call the police to enforce the court order? Freya starts crying. Then Rowan joins her, both of them picking up on my fear, the way babies do. I bounce them automatically, making soothing sounds, but my mind is racing. I pull out my phone with one hand, somehow managing not to drop either baby. Kale answers immediately. Marin, what's wrong? Sabine is here. She has court papers. She says she's taking the twins for 72 hours. The silence on the other end is absolute. Then, don't let her touch them. She says it's legal. She has documents. I don't care what she has. Those papers are fake, or obtained through fraud, or... He stops. I hear him moving, probably already heading for his car. I'm 20 minutes away. Stall her. How? I don't know. Just don't let her take them. I'm coming. The line goes dead. I look at Sabine, who's watching me with cold amusement. He told you not to let me have them, didn't he? How predictable. She extends her hands. But it doesn't matter what Kale wants. The law is on my side this time. You abandoned them. The words come out harsh. You threw them away like garbage and screamed his name like it was a curse. You don't get to just show up and take them back. I was sick. I've explained this. The court understands even if you don't. She takes another step forward. Now give me my children before this gets unpleasant. There's a threat in her voice. Subtle, but unmistakable. I think about what Kale told me about vampires, about their strength and speed, and the careful control they have to maintain around humans. About what Sabine could do if she decided to stop being civilized. Mrs. Okoye, I say quietly, call our lawyer, now. The older woman nods and pulls out her phone, stepping into the next room. Sabine sighs. This is unnecessary. I don't want to fight. I just want what's mine. They're not yours, not anymore. I'm backing up slowly, keeping distance between us. You gave up that right when you left them on the doorstep. I was ill, she repeats, but there's anger creeping into her voice now. Why is that so hard for everyone to understand? I wasn't myself. I made a mistake. But I'm better now, and I deserve a chance to be their mother. You don't get to decide that. Kale does. The courts do. Not you. The court's already decided. She waves the papers. These are legal documents, signed by a judge. What part of that are you not understanding? Freya is wailing now, her face red and scrunched. Rowan is building up to a full scream. I keep bouncing them, keep moving backward. If I can just get to the stairs, get them somewhere more defensible, Sabine moves faster than I can track. One moment she's across the foyer, the next she's right in front of me, close enough that I can see the unnatural stillness in her face, the way her chest doesn't rise and fall with breath. Don't make this difficult, she says softly. I can be patient, or I can be forceful. Your choice. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Kale will destroy you if you hurt them. I'm not going to hurt them. They're my children. But her hand reaches out, moving toward Freya, and I twist away instinctively. Don't touch her. She's mine. She's Kale's. I stop, realizing the truth of what I'm about to say. She's mine too. I've been there for every feeding, every diaper change, every night they cried. I held them when they were sick. I sang to them. I loved them. You don't get to just take that away. Something flickers in Sabine's expression. Pain, maybe, or recognition. You think that makes you their mother? Being there? Anyone can be there. It takes blood to make a real family. No, I say firmly. It takes love. And you didn't love them enough to stay. The slap comes so fast I don't see it coming. One moment I'm standing, the next I'm on the ground. Both babies somehow still in my arms, but screaming now, terrified by the sudden movement. My cheek burns where she hit me. Don't presume to tell me about love. Sabine's voice is cold. You're a human who got lucky. You're nothing special, nothing permanent. In 10 years, 20, you'll be old, and he'll still be exactly what he is. Do you really think this lasts? Do you really think he'll choose you over his own kind? I'm struggling to sit up, trying to calm the babies, tasting blood in my mouth. Mrs. Okoye appears in the doorway, phone in hand, her face shocked. I've called the police, she says. They're on their way. Sabine laughs. Perfect. They can enforce the court order when they arrive. This couldn't have worked out better. But there's a sound then. A car on the gravel drive, moving too fast. Kyle's car. He's here. The front door slams open hard enough to crack the frame. Kyle stands there, and he's not bothering to hide what he is anymore. His eyes are pure mercury, bright and furious. His skin seems to gather shadows around it. He looks like something out of a nightmare, beautiful and terrifying. Get away from them. His voice is barely human. Sabine straightens, but I see fear flicker across her face. Kale, how nice of you to join us. I was just collecting my children. Those aren't your children, not anymore. He's across the foyer in a blur, kneeling beside me, checking for injuries with hands that shake slightly. Are you hurt? I'm fine. The babies are fine. My voice cracks. She has papers. She says a judge. The papers are fraudulent. Kale's voice is still that inhuman growl. I just spoke with our lawyer. No judge issued those orders. Sabine forged them. Sabine's expression flashes through several emotions. Surprise, anger, resignation. So, what if I did? They're my children. I have a right. You have no rights. Kyle stands, and there's something predatory in the movement. You abandon them, you traumatize them, and now you've broken into my home, assaulted my fiancé, and attempted to kidnap my children using forged legal documents. You're done, Sabine. Our children, she corrects desperately. Kale, please, I made mistakes. I know that. But I'm their mother. That has to count for something. It counted for everything. Until you threw it away. He helps me to my feet, takes Rowan from me while I hold Freya. Both babies are calming now that he's here, responding to the security of their father's presence. You could have asked for help. You could have told me you were struggling. Instead, you left 2 newborns on a doorstep in the middle of the night and drove away. You made your choice. I was sick. Then you should have gotten treatment before trying to regain custody. But you didn't. You waited until you thought I'd be vulnerable. Then you tried to steal them with fake papers. His voice drops lower. Did you really think that would work? Did you think I wouldn't move heaven and earth to keep them safe? Sabine's composure is cracking. I just wanted another chance. I wanted to prove I could be a good mother. You can't prove that by kidnapping them. Sirens sound in the distance, getting closer. Sabine hears them, and her face goes white. Kale, please, don't let them arrest me. I'm one of your kind. If this goes on record, if there's an investigation, you should have thought of that before you came here. The Covenant will get involved. They'll ask questions about you, about the children. Do you really want that kind of scrutiny? I see Kale hesitate. He's explained the Covenant to me. The vampire governing body that maintains secrecy, that enforces rules, that doesn't look kindly on situations that might expose their existence. A custody battle involving forged documents and assault charges could attract exactly the kind of attention they try to avoid. "Kyle," I say quietly, "what do you want to do?" He looks at me, then at the babies in our arms. Freya has stopped crying and is reaching for him with one tiny hand. Rowan is making his usual cranky sounds, probably hungry and definitely tired. "I want them safe," he says finally. "Always. That's all that matters." He turns back to Sabine. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. Now, you're going to sign papers permanently terminating your parental rights, and you're going to disappear from our lives completely. And if I don't, then I file charges. Assault, attempted kidnapping, forgery. And I let the investigation happen, consequences be damned. Maybe the Covenant gets involved. Maybe this becomes the mess you're so worried about. But you will never, ever get near my children again either way." Sabine looks between us, Kale with his inhuman fury, me with blood on my lip and a baby on my hip, Mrs. Okoye standing protective and fierce in the doorway. She's calculating, weighing her options. The police cars pull up outside. Red and blue lights flash through the windows. "Fine," Sabine says finally. "I'll sign whatever you want. Just make this go away." Kyle's smile is cold. "Mrs. Okoye, would you tell the officers there's been a misunderstanding? A former employee with a grudge. We're handling it privately." Mrs. Okoye nods and goes to intercept the police. I hear her explaining in her calm, reasonable voice that everything is fine, just a domestic matter being resolved, no need for intervention. Kyle pulls out his phone and makes a call. "Richard, I need termination of parental rights papers drawn up. Immediately. Yes, I know it's after hours. I don't care." He gives our address. 30 minutes. Good. He hangs up and looks at Sabine. "You'll wait in the sitting room, under supervision. You'll sign the papers when they arrive, and then you'll leave, and we'll never see you again." "What about visitation? What about—" "Nothing. You get nothing. That's the deal." Sabine looks at the babies one more time, and I see genuine grief in her expression. "They're beautiful. I did one thing right." "You did," Kale agrees. "You gave them life, but that's where your contribution ends." Mrs. Okoye escorts Sabine to the sitting room. I hear her offering tea in that same polite, unflappable voice, like this is all perfectly normal. Kyle and I are left standing in the foyer with two increasingly fussy babies. "Are you really okay?" he asks, touching my face gently where Sabine hit me. "She hurt you." "I'm fine. I was more scared she'd hurt them." "She wouldn't have. Whatever else she is, she wouldn't hurt them." He pauses. "But she would have taken them, and we might never have gotten them back." The reality of how close we came settles over us. I start shaking, delayed shock finally hitting. "Hey." Kyle wraps his free arm around me, pulling me close. "It's over. She's gone. We're safe." What if she changes her mind? What if she doesn't sign? She'll sign. She's more afraid of the Covenant than she is desperate for the babies. He kisses my forehead gently. "And even if she didn't, I meant what I said. I would burn everything down before I let anyone take them." We stand there, the four of us, until the shaking stops, until Freya starts fussing for real, hungry and tired and done with all this drama, until Rowan joins her with his own complaints. "They need to eat," I say. "They always need to eat." But Kale's voice is fond. "Come on, let's get them settled." We go upstairs to the nursery, leaving Mrs. Okoye to manage Sabine and the lawyer when he arrives. We feed the babies and change them and rock them until they are drowsy and calm. It's routine, ordinary, exactly what we do every day, but it feels different now. Precious, hard-won. "I was so scared," I admit while Freya nurses her bottle. "When she said she was taking them, when I couldn't stop her." "You did stop her." "You kept them safe until I could get here." "She could have hurt me. She could have just taken them by force. But she didn't, because you were brave enough to stand against her. He shifts Rowan to his shoulder for burping. Do you know what I thought about the whole drive here? I kept thinking, thank God Marin is there. Thank God they're not alone. My throat tightens. I thought about what you said, about me not being permanent, about getting old while you stay the same. Kyle's expression hardens. She was trying to hurt you. I know, but she wasn't wrong, was she? Eventually I'll be 60, and you'll still look 30. Eventually I'll die, and you won't. Eventually everyone dies, and I don't, he says quietly. That's been true for 300 years. It will be true for 300 more. But Marin. He waits until I look at him. The time I get with you, however long it is worth every moment of loss that comes after. Do you understand? You're not a placeholder. You're not temporary in any way that matters. You're everything. I believe him. Despite Sabine's words, despite the obvious truth that our lifespans don't match, I believe him. We put the babies in their cribs. Both fight sleep the way they always do, fussing and squirming until finally exhaustion wins. We stand over them, watching them breathe, and I think about how close we came to losing this. Mrs. Okoye appears in the doorway. The papers are signed. Ms. Sabine has left the premises. Kyle nods slowly. Is she really gone? I watched her drive away myself, and Mr. Chen, your lawyer, says the documents are legally binding. She has no claim anymore. Good. He runs a hand through his hair. Thank you, Mrs. Okoye, for everything today. Just doing my job, sir. Though I will say, she looks at me. Miss Marin showed remarkable courage. Not many people would stand against an angry vampire protecting 2 babies. She didn't know I was, Kyle starts. Oh, I've known for years what you are, Mr. Nightborn. I'm old, not blind. Mrs. Okoye smiles slightly. I'll make dinner. Something comforting. You both look like you need it. She leaves, and Kyle and I look at each other. She knew? I say. Apparently everyone knew but me. He laughs, slightly incredulous. This family is ridiculous. It's perfect. It's complicated and messy, and probably breaks about 17 supernatural laws. Still perfect. He pulls me close, careful of my bruised face. Yes, he agrees. It is. We stay in the nursery until the sun sets completely. Until the fear fades and the adrenaline wears off. Until we're just 2 people watching over 2 babies, building a life, one quiet moment at a time. Later, after dinner, after the baby's last feeding, after everything finally settles into something like normal, we stand on the balcony overlooking the grounds. The night is clear and cool, stars visible beyond the city lights. I never thanked you, Kyle says, for staying, for fighting for them, for choosing us. You don't have to thank me for loving you. Maybe not, but I will anyway. He takes my hand, the one with his ring on it. Marin Chen, you walked into my life as a housekeeper and became the center of my universe. You took 2 abandoned babies and made them yours. You stood against a vampire without hesitation. You're the bravest, most stubborn, most wonderful person I've ever known, and I don't deserve you. You're right. You don't. I lean against him, but you're stuck with me anyway. Thank God for that. We stand there together, looking out at our home, our life, our strange and perfect family. Inside, 2 babies sleep, safe and loved. Downstairs, Mrs. Okoye hums while she cleans up. Everything is exactly as it should be. The crisis is over. Sabine is gone. The papers are signed. We're safe. And tomorrow we'll wake up and do it all again. The feedings and the diaper changes and the small, ordinary miracles of raising children. We'll watch Freya and Rowan grow. We'll navigate the complications of being a human and a vampire raising half-human children. We'll face whatever comes next. But tonight, we're just here. Just this. Just us.